right, this one's according to Browns.com. 5 players who positioned themselves for bigger roles in 2022. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, Greedy Williams, 1 and 2, Demetric Felton, Grant Delpit, and Tommy Togiai. Kevin, hard to argue that the Browns will be doing a lot of things with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, a young guy, only 22. And the best thing I can say about him is the more I saw of him, the more I wanted to see, and the more possibilities I saw and want to see what Joe Woods and the Browns have in store for JOK.
JOK is that new style NFL linebacker, and I think the way that the linebacker position is going, people still question when guys like that come in where they don't think they have a position because they've played linebacker in college, but they're more of a frame, kind of a safety, but they don't always cover. JOK of course had great coverage skills at Notre Dame, which we saw throughout the season in the NFL progressing. And a guy you brought in for when you got to go against an athletic quarterback like Lamar Jackson, he definitely showed through in that unfortunate loss on Sunday Night Football. But he showed what he could do against Lamar, and even at times against Huntley when he had to come in for him in the game here in Cleveland. JOK is just going to continue to grow in that role, and he's again a fast linebacker. Yes, he's not as big as the traditional NFL linebackers, but with this pass happy league and everything being spread out and crossing it, yes, the Browns are a running offense, but you don't see that very much. You see these deep threats. You see tight ends being a big focal point in the passing game, more so than even maybe the pass blocking or run blocking type elements of the offense. So JOK is that quintessential and could be that first of maybe a bigger wave now of linebackers like that. And he's going to have a huge role on this defense. Joe Woods is probably looking at film like, if I would have gave him a little bit more based on how he progressed throughout the season, I can definitely see where we can use this guy in different and more unique ways that teams are just not going to be able to be ready for every single week of the season.
And the other two that we should touch on, Greedy Williams played pretty well and then kept getting banged up. But it was good to see him coming back after that, the second-round pick. I thought he was pretty good. And I know there were times where he had to miss time because of that shoulder. But for a guy that hadn't played, he's a pretty good third corner. I was real happy with that. And the other one would be Grant Delpit, who missed all of his rookie season, was a little bit slow starting, but you saw the things that the Browns saw in him. Again, a lot of versatility from the safety position for Delpit. So Williams and Delpit, I'm on board with as far as guys that I think you'll see a lot more of in 2022.
And for me on that list, a little bit of bias because we just had him on the show last night on The Voice of the Land with Demetric Felton on the offensive side. But you mentioned the two that have to be looked at in this type of defense. If they can stay healthy, Grant Delpit and Greedy Williams are going to be major pieces because you kind of have maybe your cornerstones now, especially if you lock up Denzel Ward long-term or give him an extension on his contract like he should with being one of the top cornerbacks in this league or one of the better ones, above average cornerbacks, if you're going to go at the very least for Denzel Ward. Greg Newsome had one heck of a rookie season, but if you can have a rotation in there with another great cornerback like Greedy Williams and the skills he possesses, and then Grant Delpit back there with John Johnson III, what they can do and getting some guys in there to rotate in with them, now your secondary becomes strong. You strengthen the defensive line and your secondary now. It either gives your defensive line more time to get home or, if the defensive line's getting home quick, it makes that job as a defensive back even easier to even easier to cover. And words can be hard sometimes, Dave, but playing cornerbacks even harder. And these guys show that they can play that position and play the safety position well as long as they stay healthy. And that was a statement before the season, during the season. And it's just going to be something throughout. You got to stay healthy if you're going to have success in any sort of professional sports ranks.